Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Supergirl and a little bit about, I guess, social issues? This isn't a political vidcast. I'm not going to get political, but recently on the CW shows, I have noticed sort of a trend of introducing gay characters, but in my view, they're introducing them in such a way where we get a one-off throwaway line, or we get an idea that somebody male is waiting at home for another male and it's made his life great. And while that's nice, and while it's good to see people getting representation, people that actually do exist, people that are in our society and are sometimes marginalized, I feel like a lot of times it's more about the creators saying, look how diverse we are. We've got a gay character, and all the gay character has is one line that tells us they're gay, and they're very small, and they're marginalized there, but it's almost like the creators, the writers, are using the character just to promote the idea that they are diverse, when in fact they have no actual character growth with that person, they have no development with that person, they just throw a line in there. Obsidian, for example, on Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know that much about him, and I didn't look it up, but I made mention on a post on Facebook that it seemed odd and like a throwaway line just so that we knew he was gay when he went off the show and wasn't going to be back. And maybe he'll return at some point, but he was kind of a small character in that one episode, and they threw the line in, and since they weren't going to talk about it any further, and we weren't going to see that character do anything else, it was almost like they just put it there just to have it there. Where, in contrast, on Supergirl, we have recently had a great series of episodes, in my opinion, where Alex has come to the discovery that she might be gay, or is gay. I don't know that it's been satisfied yet to where she's going to end up, because she's still very conflicted about it. But I thought it was incredibly touching when she had her scene with Kara, where she came out, where Maggie told her that she should go do that, and that it's going to make her feel great, and that it's a huge crossroads in her life, and she's going to realize she's much happier when she's able to be open and be herself. And I think that that's a great way to include people who might be on the outside, who might themselves still be having issues with trying to decide who they are or where they are at. And I think in this case on Supergirl, I love Alex, and I love the show, and I love what they do. And I've said many times, it's the most emotional, it's the most stirring, it's the most touching of the CW shows, even though Arrow is still my favorite. Obviously, I have a special place in my heart because it's a super show. I feel like it's so much more emotional, and I've heard a lot of fans complain that that's why they don't like it, because it's too touchy-feely or it's too cheesy. Cheesy for me, and I've talked about the Donner film, is people acting goofy and silly, and there was some of that on Supergirl, but I do find, as I said, it to be much more about relationships and emotional and touching. And my daughter pointed at me several times because my eyes were teary because of the way the interactions happened, and I felt that it was a great use of the Alex character. Obviously, she's been a bit non-romantic. We've never seen her in a relationship before. The whole first season, they never even talked about it. So I don't know if this was their plan all along, or if they just decided, listen, she's a character who doesn't exist in the comics, we can do whatever, and since we haven't shown her in any kind of relationship, why don't we do this? And I thought it was handled really, really well, and I feel like she's a real person, a real character. I don't feel like she's token. I don't feel like they're just throwing her in there and then saying something quickly just to prove to us, the viewer, how diverse they are. Same thing with Curtis. He's a character. He's been there. He's involved. He's a gay character, and he's a real person, and he has, you know, the character traits of a person on one of these shows. Sometimes on these shows, people are a little shallow anyway, but to the degree that the characters are characters on these shows, I feel like Alex and Supergirl does a much better job, I think, with real people feelings, even though sometimes it's a little goofy, because they're, just like with their Superman, they're connecting it to that idea of the ideal version of the super family, which a lot of people still think is the Donner version of the movie. But I still feel like the emotions and the connections between family members like Kara and Alex are so much greater than they are on a lot of the other shows. Although Legends gets me emotionally a lot of times too, which is odd because it's the last show I normally watch out of the 4. But I think it's great when they really do, and this goes for a straight character, a gay character, whatever. For me, it's all about the development. It's about the writing. It's about handling the character correctly. And I may mention that it almost seems like at times they're hitting us in the face with, we're pro-gay, as opposed to really giving us characters that are meaningful, that represent what they're trying to represent. And sometimes it seems like what they're trying to represent is just the idea that we're so pro-gay and we're so diverse. Look at us, look at us. And I don't know that it should be that, as much as with whatever character. You should be about the character. You should be about showing us that this is a real person, a rounded person, a person that is gay or straight or whatever they are, but is a meaningful character in the world that we're watching, and that it feels authentic and not just being thrown in there just so that we know that it's there, but it's never going to be meaningful. And I guess someone who is really close to the subject immediately got offended. And I'm doing this vid because I'm wondering on some opinions on the way I sound or the way it comes across, because I think everybody should be what they want to be and what makes them the happiest. And I love Alex's story right now, and I'm enjoying where it's going, and I think that Chyler handled it perfect. I mean, it was so touching and heartbreaking at the same time when Maggie told her she wasn't ready for that or whatever. I think she overreacted, because I don't think Maggie said, no, I'd never be with you, or I don't like you that way. But Alex is going through a turmoil of emotions, and that's what I think is so strong about it and so powerful, because she really is an adult who has supposedly already become what she's going to become. She's 30 or in her 30s, but yet hasn't discovered this part of herself yet, or hasn't opened up about this part of herself. And I think that they're handling it really, really well, that she just discovered this and is now trying to process all of it and needs Kara there and says, you know, I can't do this without you, and it's very touching and emotional. And then she goes back to Maggie, and you know, and Maggie in her mind turns her down, although I still think they're going to end up having a relationship, because I think Maggie just doesn't want to be the girl who Alex tries out her gayness on. In other words, if she's not sure, or if she hasn't discovered who she's going to be yet, Maggie wants her to feel that and experience that before she maybe gets in a relationship with someone that she's hoping is going to be serious. So these are my thoughts on it, and I think in some cases, not just the CW shows, but in some cases it's handled in a token way just to show we have this, and we're great because we do. And then in other ways, they really take the time, and it's really emotional, and it's really touching, and it's really, you know, or they're a really meaningful character, and you could see them being a character, and they're real, and they feel authentic. Let me know what you think. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, very, very orange. I apologize. Going for the whole thing in America right now. Always look up in the sky. It's popular. What all the kids are going for. And 70-year-old president-elects.